Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of our series. Today's challenge is both practical and essential, constructing an invoice generator. Using React for a seamless user experience and Tailwind CSS for a clean design, we aim to produce a tool that not only creates but also allows user to download simple invoices. But here is where things get exciting. ChatGPT will be our primary coder. We will be taking its suggestion, implementing them, and then to understand the intricate details, we will dive deep to explain the code as much as possible. In this journey, we also have a new tool up our sleeve, ChatGPT Vision. Should we encounter any unexpected results, we can show ChatGPT its own work, allowing it to analyze, rectify, and potentially spot areas to refine. It's collaborative coding session like no others. So, without further ado, let's set forth and witness the blend of human and AI innovation. Alright, my React.js application is currently running in the browser. It has configured the Tailwind CSS already. It is a very simple, basic Hello World app. So now let's start writing our prompt to ChatGPT 4. So here you can see I have written a very basic prompt that is saying make sure to follow these instructions, use React and Tailwind CSS, develop an invoice generator, create and download simple invoices, provide me complete code without missing or skipping anything. The UI should be very attractive, modern, and visually appealing. It should good enough and rich in features to be deployed on the production. I already have Tailwind and React set up, so let's see what it does with that. Meanwhile, let me quickly import the CSS file. I did not do that yet. Okay. So certainly, let's get started on building a simple invoice generator using React and Tailwind CSS. Step 1, setup. Given that you already have done that, component structure. Let's divide our application into the following components: app, invoice form, invoice preview, download button. Building the components. So in the app.js, it is adding something, and in the download button, it is saying that button to download the invoice as the PDF. This will be a simple approach for production grade applications. You might consider a backend service to handle this. So in the app.js, it has added basic elements and added the basic styling by using Tailwind CSS, as you can see, and also it is using another component, that is invoice form, that it is generating here. So let's copy paste this code. Now we need to create this component. So let's do that. In the source directory, I'm going to create this component, and let's wait for it. It is creating a form and it is using a state to maintain the states for every input of that form, like client name, items, and total. Okay, this component is ready, so I'm going to copy paste it here. After that, I need to create this component. So let's copy the name of the component and create a new file. So invoice preview component is being created. So this is a variable that will calculate the total amount, I guess. It is expecting an input from this component, data.items.reduce, and it is adding all of the numbers. All right, now let's paste this as well. Okay, now let's try it. So go back to the website. So this is the layout that it has generated so far. Here we need to enter the client name, description, and the amount. We can add multiple amounts as well. That's very nice. So let's add a name, Tech, and in description, let's say build front end layout amount $100, add item, build backend logic 500, deployed to the production. Okay, so I can see that these items are being previewed in the bottom, but still it does not look very professional. I mean, I was expecting to see the invoice preview in a separate view or something like that, and there should be a download button. So actually, let's give this screenshot to the ChatGPT and see what does it think about it. The layout you provided seems clean and straightforward. However, based on the design and the requirement mentioned earlier, here are a few suggestions to make it more user-friendly and competitive. Spacing alignment, ensure the consistent spacing between the form fields. Okay. Alignment should be perfect. Currently, the price fields seem a bit too far to the right. Okay. Interactive feedback. Consider adding hover effect for add items. Add item button. Perhaps change the background color. Form validation. Item deletion. Yes, that is. I agree with that. There should be the delete button if you want to delete an item. It might be a good idea to show subtotals for each item. Quantity multiplied by price. Yeah, that is also a good idea. Invoice customization, providing options for a user to add their logo, company. Okay. Due date and due date. Yeah, that is also good suggestion. And in the advanced features, for a competitive edge, think about interaction with payment platform. No, that would be too much. Themes or template tooltips, loading and saving. Okay, instruction. Let's take some suggestions from this. So, for example, I want to use this suggestion. Item deletion. Also, the invoice review does not look conventional. This preview layout is not common in the market. Also, make sure to add download button that will download the PDF. So let's see what it does with that. Enhance the data structure. Modify form data in this component to include quantity, date, due date, and subtotal. So let's copy paste this one. add date and due date fields. So it is adding these two fields, invoice date. We need to add it right after the client name. Okay, let's find the client name first. This is the client name, and after that I will copy paste those two fields and then add quantity and calculate subtotals. Modify the handle input change function. Let me find that function first. Create the subtotal for each item. Okay, let me copy this and replace this with the new one. And update the item fields to include the quantity input. Update the item fields. Okay, let me find the items field. So here we need to add this somehow. Number and description. So this is the quantity, description, and the amount section. So we need to find out where we have to add it. So this is the description. This is also a description. Okay. So I think we need to add it before the description. Actually, I think let's copy paste everything and we will add it here. I'll delete everything and paste it instead. And after that, add the delete functionality. Handle remove function. We need to add this function somewhere within this component. Modify the invoice preview. So copy that and go to the invoice preview component and replace it with that. Okay. The PDF download functionality. To add the PDF download functionality, you will need to integrate with the library called html2pdf.js or set up a backend service to handle this. Here is a simplified approach using html2pdf.js. Install this. Okay. We have to click on the continue generation so that it could complete what it was typing. Okay, the package has been installed. Now we need to wait for this one. In the invoice preview, we need to add the HTML to PDF. We need to import this one. Okay, let's copy the entire thing and replace it with that one. Okay, remember to wrap the content of the invoice preview component in a div with the ID this. Okay, let's try that. This is the container. Let's add this ID. Or actually, I think we need to create another div. And then we need to add that ID. Here. Okay. This will provide you with the base implementation. So let's try it. So this is the, oh, I left this comment. Let me find it and remove it. So this is kind of button that does not look good at all. Okay, I think we need to remove this. Okay, we need to improve the download button as well. So let me tell it to ChatGPT. Okay, let's try to, actually we need to remove these comments. Okay, so it has given me the code to update the button. So let me do that. Okay, the button is better than before, but the spacing is not good. But let's try it first. I will add the invoice date here, due date, and add a description. The button does not look good. I mean, the alignment is very bad right now. So it will multiply with the price. This is the quantity. This is the description, and this is the price. You can add multiple items. And let me try to delete something. Yes, we are able to delete. Okay, now let's click on the download as PDF. And let's open that PDF. PDF is empty. I cannot see anything in the PDF. So maybe we did something wrong or something is not done correctly. So it is getting the invoice preview ID. And I don't know if we added the ID. Yeah, we have added the ID correctly, I guess. But it is still not working. So let me complain this to ChatGPT that I downloaded the invoice, but it was empty PDF. The problem of an empty PDF usually arises from the asynchronous nature of the HTML to PDF function. It might be attempting to generate the PDF before HTML content is fully rendered or captured. Let's troubleshoot and resolve this issue. Ensure correct element selection. Make sure the element you are trying to convert to PDF is correctly identified as the ID. Yes, that is right already. Delay PDF generation. You can set a slight delay before PDF generation to ensure the content is rendered using set timeout. Okay. So let's replace this function, handle download invoice. That one. Okay, let's try it again. I will click the download button again. It is still empty for me. Maybe I should reload it. It is still empty. That's strange. Oh, by the way, make sure that content you want to convert it visible in the viewport. Check CSS. Use a ref using React. Capturing DOM element directly via this is not idiomatic. Instead, you should use a ref. So let's try that in the invoice preview component. Okay, and we need to, by the way, this function should be inside this component. Also, we need to add this line at the top. So instead of getting it by the ID, we can simply use this. And then we need to add this ref here. So here, instead of adding ID here, I will add this attribute. Okay, now let's try it again. Go back here, refresh it. There is an ID. Useref is not defined. We have to import the useref from the React on the top. Okay, now let's try it again. Let me reload it. Add some dates, any random date, just to test it. It is again empty. That was not helpful at all. Uh, Maybe I think this is an error that I'm getting here. It is saying that failed to parse source map. No such directory. I think this is just related to type. That should not be a problem, maybe. Let me check the console to find any errors. I don't see any errors. But I see some errors in VS Code console. The error message you are seeing is related to the missing source map for HTML to PDF. While this solution should not prevent PDF generation itself. So it is saying that reinstall the HTML to PDF. I don't think that would solve the problem, and exclude the source map loader. Okay, that is a different thing that will also not fix the issue, because this is just about the type. Check HTML to PDF version. I don't think that is also a problem. Alternative libraries. So it is saying that you can use a different one, like using PDF make or JS PDF directly. These libraries might have different setup, but they are widely used for client-side PDF generation. So uh, let's try a different library. So it is going to use JS PDF combined with HTML2 canvas. So let's install these two libraries, copy the code, and in the terminal I will paste it and install it. Modify the download function in your invoice preview. You can replace the handle download invoice function. So let's wait for it to be completed, and meanwhile I will find out that function. This is the handle download invoice function. So okay, I'm going to copy paste this function here. Let me replace it. Now in the step 3, test the download. So let's try test it. Actually, I can see some errors here. It is saying that these two are not defined because I did not import anything yet. So we have to import those first on the top. Okay, so now let's try it again. I can see an error that invalid element provided as the first argument. Let me copy the error and give it to ChatGPT. When I clicked on the download, I got this error. The error suggests that HTML to canvas could not find or recognize the element provider for conversion. So let's troubleshoot this. Ensure elements existence. Uh, ensure that elements existence. So first double check the element with the ID. We deleted that ID, so I think that's why it was happening. So let me add that ID back. And I think this uh, ref is not being used anymore, so I can remove it. And instead of that, I will add the ID. Okay. Now let's let's test it again. Click on the PDF. Okay. Yes, now this time I can see the invoice here, but this invoice does not look professional. Let me give that screenshot to the ChatGPT and tell it that look at this screenshot. This is the invoice that you generated in PDF. It does not look good. Also, this is not professional. I also provided you a sample PDF, a sample preview of invoice. Make sure to make it look like that. So let me get a sample invoice from internet, and we will give that sample to the ChatGPT, and ChatGPT should be able to help us to make it look like that. So let me search from internet invoice preview, invoice. So go to the images. Let's try to find some very simple invoice that is easy to build. So let me use this one. Yeah, this look very nice. So let me copy this, take the screenshot of it and paste it here. Submit that. I understand your concerns. Let's aim to make your invoice look closer to the provided sample, which indeed has more professional appearance. To create this style, we need to add a logo to the top right corner, uh, display the header, address, and contact information prominently. Have a clear section for bill to address. Okay. Use a table for itemized listing. Clearly display totals, banking information, and any notes at the bottom. Here is a basic structure using React with Tailwind CSS to achieve this. Okay. I'm hoping that this time it will make something better for us. Okay. Now let's replace this div with the new one that was provided. And also we need to add the logo. So first let us look at what we got. I can see an error that is saying that item.amount to fixed is not a function. So why is that? Item dot amount. So this item is coming from here and this is coming from a loop. So let's tell ChatGPT about this error. I got these errors. The error you are seeing uh, indicate that the amount property for each item in your data items array is not a number. So let's address this issue. Ensure data integrity. First, ensure that the data you are passing to this component is correct. Verify that every item in your data items array has an amount property. Okay. This conditional rendering checks if item.amount is a number before trying to format it. If it is not a number, it simply renders the value as it is. Data parsing. If your data is coming from an external source or being stored as a string, for example, from an input field, you may need to parse it to a number using parse float. So let's try to do that. Uh, I will actually give it my code and ask it to fix it yourself. On reviewing your code, I can identify the problem you are attempting to call to fixed on item.amount without ensuring it's a number. The data.total also seems to be redundant since you already calculated the total within the component. So let's address these issues, parse and validate the item amounts. For item.amount and item.subtotal, ensure they are numbers before attempting any operation on them. Convert string values to numbers using parse float. Replace the data.total reference. You have calculated the total within the component so that instead of data.total, here is the revised version of your component. Okay. So first of all, we need to add this part on the top. Okay, we need to carefully add this content. So we need to, in the table, t-body. So I think we just need to replace this t-body section. And then we need to add this part after the table. So I will just have to replace this one. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, this is what I can see, and this looks much better and professional than before. So let me get a logo from internet. Okay, now I will drag and drop this image in our public folder. And I have to give it the right name. The format of the logo is AVIF. I don't know what that is, but that is an image. Okay, the logo is visible here. and that is looking great. So now let's click on the download as PDF and see what it does with that. It gave me the invoice, but it also added the download button in that. I don't like that. So let me tell to uh, ChatGPT, it is showing that one. To ensure the download as PDF button is not included in the generated PDF, you can temporarily hide it while screenshot is being taken and then display it again after the process is complete. Here is how to achieve that. Assign the unique ID to the download button. So, okay, let's make these changes. So in the handle download button, it has added these two lines of code in the handle download button on the top. Let me remove this one. Actually, it added just one line of code extra and we need to hide it immediately. So here I will hide it. And then we need to show it, show the download button again after it is done. So in the then block at the end, when a PDF is created and saved, we will display it back. Rest of the component, so we need to add this ID to that button. Okay, now let's try it again. I'm going to click on that. It has downloaded the invoice, and this time there is no download button. So one last thing that I want to achieve is that right now there are several things that are hard coded, like the address, the bank name, bank account number, and the email. So we need to fix that as well. It's great, but there are few pieces of information that are still hard coded, like address, email, etc. Make them dynamic so that user could provide them from the input. Absolutely, let's make the necessary adjustments to ensure that address, email, and other details are dynamic and can be populated from data prop. Address and calculate information, contact information. Instead of hard coding these details, uh, actually the bank name should also be dynamic. So it is not taking that into consideration. So actually, let's add these uh, changes first. So in your assume that your data object has these followings. Okay. Update the component, replace the hard-coded values in the invoice preview component with the dynamic values from the data prop. Here is the updated invoice preview component. So rest of the component okay, unchanged up to the address. Okay. Invoice ID, client name. So here we need to add the dynamic address. Uh, this is the address, and I need to replace this line. And then we need to add this email. And then in the invoice preview, we need to receive this information. I also need to make bank details dynamic. Okay, bank details structure, update the data prop. Okay, update the component, incorporate these new bank details in your invoice preview. So we have to just copy paste and only this part, bank name, and also the bank account. Okay, now I will give it my invoice form to update it accordingly. Update this invoice form accordingly. Like add relevant inputs, etc. To update invoice form component with dynamic bank details, we need to add inputs for bank's name and account number, then incorporate these values into the form data. It is considering only two inputs, but I want to consider all of the new things that we have added. So we need to give it the proper context. Bank account, bank name, and all of this information. So let me delete the values. Just I want to keep the names of the fields. Okay. So let me edit my last prompt. Uh, okay. Now I will click on the save and submit. To make the form fields dynamic as per your requirement, we need to add new input fields: bank name, bank account, address, and contact name and contact email. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yes. Date and client name is already there, so we don't need for that. So in the use state, we need to add these new properties. So let's go to the top, and here I will add it. And then we need to add this input after this part, client name and date input fields. We need to copy paste these sections. So let it complete it first. Okay, so let us copy this entire code up to this level and scroll down. Collapse the client name, invoice date, due date, and after that we need to add our new fields. And now let's test it. So this is what we have right now, the updated details. Now let me add hello world, or maybe IR tech. You can see it is being updated in the real time in the invoice. Now I will add the dates and the due date, and in the address XYZ street ABC and Y whatever. So contact email abc@gmail.com, bank name XYZ Bank Ltd, bank account any random account, and I will add multiple items here. So in the description you can see everything is being updated in the real time below. That is very nice feature. And here I will add the front end layout, $100, two layouts, $200, add item, one backend, 500, and deployment, $200. Okay, everything is added in the real time. Total is $800. So now uh, I will click on the download PDF and let's see if okay. Now let's check this invoice. All right, we can see that we have the invoice number, the date, the client name, address, everything is dynamic. And we have all of the items, we have the total amount, and we have the bank name and bank account. So everything is very dynamic and working correctly. Okay, excellent. One last thing is that I want to tell ChatGPT that uh, this these delete buttons does not look good. So I will take a screenshot and give it to ChatGPT, and I will also give it my code. This is my if you in the screenshot, the delete button is not looking good. Make it better and user friendly and professional. Okay, I have given it my code, so let's see what it does with that. I'm hoping that there would be a very small piece of code that we have to update. I understand that you want to improve the appearance of the delete button and add dynamic fields in the form of the information you mentioned. So use an SVG icon or CSS style button for the delete button. Add the necessarily input fields. Here is the updated version of your invoice form. So okay, I think this is the part that we need to copy paste. Uh, so this is the button that it is trying to update now for us. Uh, I want to keep this delete icon, that looks good. So I will just remove the X and add the delete icon. Now this is what I can see. Maybe we should not have the background color. Again, the alignment does not look good. So we can fix it by ourselves, or you can ask ChatGPT. So let me see if I can do it quickly. So here I will add item center. And yes, everything is fixed correctly. But there is one thing, that there should be a cursor pointer on the delete icon. So I will add cursor pointer. So next time if I will reload it, the cursor pointer would be added there. All right. So I think this is now acceptable. Before ending this video, let's take a quick look at our code that we have generated so far. So this is the invoice form component that we have, and in that we have a state that has all of the properties that we want to update and maintain: client name, date, due date, items, total, address, contact, email, bank name, bank account. And in the items, this is an array, and every array would look like this object with the properties: description, amount, quantity, and subtotal. Then we have these functions: handle input change. So if input is changed, then this function would be called, and we are getting the target where the input was changed. We are getting the name and value, and then we are getting all of the items that we have added for the invoice. And here we are updating the list. We are updating the name with this value of that input. If name is equal to amount, if name is equal to quantity, then it will execute this logic. We are getting the amount and quantity, and then we are calculating it, and then we are updating the state here. After that, we have handle add input. So we have set form data. We are updating the state here. So whenever add item is clicked, it will again update the state, and it will update all of the items. So it will spread the existing items, and it will add an additional item with that. And then at last we have the handle remove item function. So if user clicks on the remove button, let's try to delete it, and you can see it was updated in the real time. So it basically gets the list of the items, it remove it, and then it update the list in the state. And then we have all of these components that you can see here. So these are all of the HTML. We are iterating on the items loop to create multiple items. Like you can see, we have loaded the invoice preview component that we have in a separate file. So this is the input that this is how it look like. We have on change on every input. We are passing the form data, that is existing one. We are passing the current value of the bank name. So this is same for other inputs as well. Now let's quickly go to the invoice preview. In the invoice preview, we have this is not being used, so I will remove it. We are using JS, PDF, HTML to canvas, and we have function invoice preview. So actually this is a component name, and we are calculating the total value, and then we are handling the download invoice button. This function has a nested this function is getting the download button, DOM element, and invoice element based on these IDs. So it is hiding the button whenever this function is called, and then it will call this function HTML to canvas that is coming from this library, and it is giving it this element object or DOM element to this function. Then this will give us a promise. We will resolve that promise by using then function. In the then function, we are giving it our callback function that would be executed once it is done. Once it is done, it will give us a canvas. In that canvas, we will convert that canvas into the data URL, base64 URL. For the image or PNG, we are instantiating the JS PDF, and with that PDF, we are getting the image properties from that canvas, and we are getting the width by using PDF internals, page size, get width, and height. With that, we are adding image to the PDF. Image data is coming from here. So actually we took a screenshot of the div element with the help of canvas, and we are setting the PDF width and height. We are now triggering the save function that will download the invoice.pdf with this name of the file, and at the end it will display the button again so that it could be visible. And this is all of the HTML that we have. You can see we are iterating on the array of the items here to display all of the items, and everything is same. There you have it. Functional invoice generator. A nice testament to harmony between human oversight and AI's coding capabilities. Using ChatGPT and ChatGPT Vision has truly added a layer of dynamism and learning to our session today. If you have found this approach intriguing and want to explore more such interactive coding challenges, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Your insights, comments, and feedback fuel our adventures, so please share your thoughts below. Till our next video, stay curious and let's continue blurring the lines between humor, intuition, and AI brilliance.